Hello guys, and what's your favorite scary movie? If you wanna know my favorite scary movie, then watch the end of the video, cause today I'm going to rank every single scary movie, or not even close to every single one, but I want to rank the classic horror franchises, so let's get right into it. So let's start off with Candyman. I have only seen the original Candyman, I haven't seen any sequels or anything, and based on that, I don't really like it so much. I'm not gonna rewatch it. At least not anything I'm planning to do. So for me it's just a pretty boring movie if I'm gonna be honest. So yeah, unfortunately for you guys who love Candyman fans, I'm gonna put this one in a D tier. I Know What You Did Last Summer is next. I've seen the original on this one too. If I'm gonna be honest, it's actually a pretty good movie, very suspenseful. You know, it gives me Scream vibes. And yeah, I love that movie. It's a pretty solid movie, but it has some flaws, and because I am doing this on my what I personally like and don't like, I think I gotta have to give it a C tier. Alright, now when that's out of the way, let's move on to the third movie, which is Psycho. I love Psycho, it's one of the best movies from its era. I have rewatched it 2 times, and it does not fail to hit the scares. But even though I don't really think it's that scary due to its time and everything, the villain is horrifying. You really feel for the characters, especially in the shower scene. Alright, next up, Child's Play with Chucky. I love that movie, but I don't really think it's that scary. You know, Chucky's just a little doll, you can just kick his ass away in case you want to. So, yeah, let's move on to A Nightmare on Elm Street, one of the best horror movies ever released in my opinion. It was created by Wes Craven, one of my, if not my favorite horror director. He also directed Scream, which we will get into later. This movie gave birth to Freddy Krueger, one of the best horror villains, and one of my personal favorites, because I love his one-liners, and I also think he's very funny. And fun fact, this was also one of the first movies Johnny Depp was in. So therefore I gotta have to give it a solid A tier. But let's move on to The Exorcist. Now The Exorcist, many people say it's one of the scariest movies of all time. I couldn't really agree on that. I did not get scared by it. It's pretty nasty if you look at it, like the puke scenes and stuff. It's pretty nasty, but I wouldn't say it's that scary. But it's a pretty solid movie. But I gotta have to give it a C tier. So let's move on to our next movie, which is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Well, hear me out. The first movie was good, but the rest sucks. Like the first and second movie were like watchable, but the rest, if I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even watched the rest because, yeah, I've seen the trailers of them. And I've watched a bit on them, but yeah, they're not fun in my opinion. I have seen a few of them. I've seen like the latest Netflix one, and I hated that movie. But the original one and the second one, they're good. So based on them, I cannot give it an S tier nor an A tier. But it fits in the B tier together with Psycho and our next movie, Evil Dead. Evil Dead is a really good movie, who also released a very good game that I'm sorry for because unfortunately it could not continue. But as I said, it's gonna get a B tier. But another game that couldn't really continue is Friday the 13th, a game from Friday the 13th franchise. Now, I love this franchise, almost everything about it. Even the sequels I like. But here's the thing about that franchise. Some of the movies are just really hard to watch, even though I can watch them, even though I like about all the movies. Some of them just have very bad writing, very bad characters, and sometimes Jason isn't even in it. I'm looking at you, part 5, but yeah, I'm gonna give it an A tier, just because the amount of love I have to Friday the 13th, the game, and Jason Voorhees. Another similar franchise that even inspired Friday the 13th is Halloween with Michael Myers. It's one of my all-time favorites. I've watched some of the sequels, but not all of them. So based on that and based on the first one, which hear me out, it's a little bit boring, but the end kicks ass, just like the original Friday the 13th movie, so therefore I'm gonna give it an A tier. Next up is Saw. I love Saw, almost all of the movies, but not all of them. I even love the latest one, Saw X. So yeah, I love the amount of gore and stuff they have in it, and I also love the games he plays. They're very interesting, they're very entertaining movies, so therefore I'm gonna give it a S tier. So here we have the first S tier of the bunch. Now let's move on to my all-time favorite scary movie, which is Scream. Scream has a special place in my heart since the first time I saw it. First, like almost everybody else, I mistook Scream and Scary Movie, and I thought it was a little bit too ridiculous to be a horror movie, but then when I actually watched Scream, then I knew that was a real horror movie, that was not just a goofy parody. So I love Scream. Then I bought the sequel, watched it, I liked it. I bought the third movie, I liked it. To be honest, I like all of the Scream movies. It doesn't even have one movie that I do not like or do not want to watch. Like all of them are solid movies, which really says something. It's also directed by Wes Craven, who knows how to do his job. And unfortunately, it passed away back in 2015. And after that, then a new company named Radio Silence started making Scream movies again, and I watched them, and they're really good. And because they're currently making Scream 7, I'm extremely excited. I know they're gonna do a great job on it. So that was my ranking. Here you have it. S tier goes to Scream and Saw. A tier goes to Halloween, Friday the 13th, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. B tier goes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho, and Evil Dead. C tier goes to Child's Play and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And D tier goes to Candyman. So that was it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Comment your favorite scary movie down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.